All right, back here on Inside Wrestling Radio, and today on the telephone we have Rikki Morton, one of the true legends of the business, on the phone with us. And he's been telling us a little about his early career, and he was telling us about his time out with Lawler and those guys out in Memphis. And pick it up right there, Rikki. You said you had taken pretty much held the spot for Dundee and Lawler while they were out. And what come out?
Yeah, I sure was. You know, I was partners with a guy named Sonny King.
Yeah.
But then, then I went to San Antonio, Texas, and wrestled for a guy named Joe Blanchard, which is Tully Blanchard's daddy.
Right, yeah, sure.
Southwest Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
And then when I was there, they gave me a pretty good little push there. I was a young baby face, sort of like the younger version of a Tommy Rich out in Texas.
Yeah.
And then they teamed me up with a guy named Ken Lucas, where Ken Lucas really, really taught me about how to be a babyface in this business.
Yeah.
And he was, matter of fact, I got to say, Ken Lucas, I don't know if you guys heard of him or not, but he was one of the best working babyfaces that I ever seen in this business.
Really?
And he taught me how to do that.
Yeah.
And then, I was fortunate when we come back to Memphis, that's when Jerry Lawler, he put us together as the Rock and Roll Express.
Yes.
But see, and what was good, what was a bad thing turned into a good thing, because see, at the time they had the fabulous ones there, Steve Kern and Stan Lane.
Right.
And which they did the same gimmick as Jackie Fargo, and Jackie Fargo was really, really over in the Memphis territory. So really, me and Robert played second fiddle.
Oh wow.
To the fabulous ones when we was there. But see, then they had the thing where Bill Watts came up from Louisiana to watch the show. See, yeah. He watched the show, but every show that was on, and even the Fabulous, like when they ran shows, the Fabulous is the ones that didn't like us on there because they couldn't follow me and Robert. Me and Robert could work, buddy. We could go, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But we was just in a position when we played second fiddle to them. So Bill Watts come and got us and took us to Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's before we even went to NWA, and we went to Louisiana, buddy. And if you read Bill Watts' book, he made more money in 2 years. The time me and Robert was there, he made the whole time that he owned the Louisiana territory. But the reason there is that's when Crockett's, took over TBS out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Right.
And Ric Flair was a world champion.
Yes.
And Ric Flair used to come in and wrestle a lot. And, Ric Flair went back and told Jimmy Crockett and Dusty Rhodes, said, man, there's a tag team there in Louisiana. You guys need to bring up here the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, is that right?
So, so they, we had videos and stuff on us. So, matter of fact, I was wrestling in the Superdome that night. Robert and I were wrestling Ted DiBiase and Dr. Steve Williams.
Yeah.
And the little man come up to me. He says, hi, I'm Jimmy Crockett. I didn't know who he was. You know what I'm saying? I was.
Yeah.
He said, I come here to watch y'all wrestle tonight. And then I told Dr. Death and Ted DiBiase this. I said, well, we're going to give him something. Because back then, this is what really started the pay-per-views. Is Bill Watts was running the Superdome like every 6 months as his big show. But we'd draw 40,000 people.
Sure, yeah.
And that night, we had this big angle. We was over like the son of a gun. We wrestled the Road Warriors there,
right.
In the Superdome and stuff. But that particular night, he was there, and buddy, when you got 40,000 people in the Superdome, which the Superdome holds a lot more than that, but they can cut half of it off.
Right, yeah.
And you got to see this, man. They holler and rock and roll. You can't even hear each other in the ring. And when we came out of the ring, Jimmy Crockett, offered us something that we couldn't refuse.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I got to say this, the smart thing about it is when they first brought us in, they got a lot of heat on the Russians. And, at the time, people, if you keep up the paper, the Russians was having, the United States is having a lot of problems with them. They bring all the American rock and roll kids in.
Right.
We shoot an angle with the Russians. And at that time, Dusty was smart. The Russians beat everybody in the whole Carolina territory.
Yeah.
And then here, Robert and I come in our first day on TV, and this is great because our match went the whole hour of the TV show.
Wow.
And
That's
we
huge.
beat them at the end. And buddy, when they did that, it was just like Motley Crue come to town.
Yeah.
Because you got to understand, back in those days in Charlotte, there wasn't no football team, there wasn't no basketball team.
That's right. Yeah.
When you come in on I-85 into Charlotte. There was a big old billboard there. Had me and Robert's picture on it. Watching NWA
Unbelievable.
wrestling every Saturday morning. You know, and it was unreal, dude. You know, I mean, But anyway, I mean, we did some business, real good business.
Yeah, and again, you guys did. You were so vastly over and so vastly popular, especially at that time. Could you just hit exactly at the right time? Because that's when the rock music was kind of breaking into the business, and then people were starting to use music for interests and stuff
well,
like
you know, Robert and I in Louisiana, we were the only ones to use music.
Yeah.
To bring that out, you know, and then they started doing it. Now everybody does it.
Now everybody does it. Yeah. But, you know, before that time, nobody was doing that. You know, you just walked to the ring and there you were. But you know, we was like one of the first ones to bring that, especially like the Bill Watson's territory and everything else. But, you know, people ask me all the time. Robert brought this up to me one time. He says, you know, Rikki, we was way before our time. I says, no, Robert, we wasn't way before our time. We came at the right time because we're the ones that paved the road for these guys today. Absolutely.
You know, I mean, a lot of people don't understand that. But, you know, I know I'm older and wish that I made the money these guys make these days.
Right.
But, you know, because all we did was make Bill Watts and Jimmy Crockett rich,
right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, but you guys absolutely did pave the way for tag, because you guys were the made tag team wrestling, really, especially in this area.
Well, thank you, but you know, and I get a lot of compliments from especially some of the guys that are still in the business. You know that like I got to say this. I went to a WWE show.
Yeah.
In Johnson City because I live in Bristol, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I got to say, when I walked in the dressing room, I was treated with more respect than anything that I ever seen, and what really got me was I have a friend of mine that's on Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But when I walked in the dressing room, Chris Jericho tweeted something. He did something on MySpace because it came right back to my phone, where he said that and what a great compliment he gave me. So I just walked in, and here's Rikki Morton, the greatest baby face ever in our business.
Yes. Yeah.
He said, what a great compliment it is just to see him standing, and to me, it made me feel so good, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To know that the guys still, and I got to say, every one of them really respected me, and that's what I liked, you know what I'm saying? It showed a lot for me and what I've done for this business.
Absolutely. And you absolutely deserve it, brother. Absolutely. You really do. Rikki, we just got a really short time here left, but if you could, maybe in like 30 seconds or so, tell us who was your favorite opponent back in those days, because you worked everybody.
Well, it's hard to say this in 30 seconds, but you got to understand right here, back in those days, everybody could rattle.
Yeah, you're right.
Even the first match guys like Joel Deaton or Denny Brown, those guys were top main event guys because you had to be that way to be even the job boy or even the middle guy.
Sure.
The George Southers of the businesses, they was all great. But, the best thing that sticks out because I had the greatest opportunity in the world to do an angle with Ric Flair.
Yes.
And when you did the angle with Ric Flair, that means that you was there, buddy.
Right, yeah.
And like you said, you see the match of me at the football stadium. But,
yeah.
But before that match,
yeah,
I got to tell you, read Ric Flair's book. This is on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Me and Ric Flair did 17-hour Broadway matches.
Wow.
And that night right there was the night in the cage when he beat me in the cage.
Yeah, yeah.
And see, but a lot of people don't even understand that we did 17 straight hour matches straight in a row before that match. Y'all seen that cage match?
That is just unbelievable. And I remember watching that match, Rikki, when it happened, and it was just phenomenally well put together. And Flair was so over as a heel at that particular time that you really had a night off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you didn't really have to come in and work the crowd. I mean, anything you did during that match, the fans went bananas for. And if it could be something just as easy as like a punch or something, and they would pop huge for everything you were doing.
Well, the business could still be like that for guys that just knew how to do it. Matter of fact, I was going to make it short. I wrestled Barbarian Saturday night in Richlands, Virginia.
Yeah. And
me and him had an old school match. I think we were on, 78th match?
Yeah.
They did everything but shoot Hugo out in Cannon before us. And we went out and had an old school match.
Yeah.
And by the time we went out there, people hadn't seen everything. It was dead. It was late.
Yeah.
And in 5 minutes of that match, brother, we had them people climbing through the ropes, hollering, rock and roll, screaming. Yeah. Because it's old school.
Yeah.
People still like it.
They do.
They're still out there. They want to see it.
They do want to see it, Rikki. You're absolutely right. Brother,
yes,
we are We are absolutely out of time right here. And do you have any kind of anything you want to put out, thing you want to plug, any internet presence at all, real quick?
Well, I was going to say, where's your show playing at?
We are based out of Lawrence, and we air locally here.
Okay, I'm going to. I know on the 18th I'm going to be in Milan, North Carolina. Robert and I both will be there at the Milan High School.
Okay.
Be coming up over there. And I'm going to be in Cherokee on the same day. I think it was 18th of September. I'm going to be in Cherokee over at the bike rally. That day, I got a show at 1 o'clock and a show at 3 o'clock. Then I drive to Milan and do a show.
Wow.
That's 3 shows in one day, buddy.
Unbelievable. That's just phenomenal.
We'll be at the bike rally over at Maggie Valley, too.
Oh, that's great.
Man, I appreciate you having me on the show. It's a great pleasure, and I'd like to thank all the fans out there, because if it wasn't for them, there wouldn't be no Rikki Morton. And thank you guys for having me on here, being able to talk, and I hope we can do it again, guys.
We
have a good day.
We certainly will.
Get ready to go in, and another day at the office. Okay?
Yeah, I hear you, brother. Listen, Rikki, thank you so much for doing this for us, man. We really appreciate it, and continued success to you, man, and just the best to you. We really appreciate you coming on the show. And that's going to do it for this part of the show.
All I can say to you, buddy, is God bless and keep it in the fair lanes.
There you go. Thanks a lot, Rikki. All right, we'll be right back right here on Morningside Wrestling Radio coming up next. Rikki, thank you so much,